He was another of those pesky young types wearing a broken pair of spectacles. Spectacles? Dark glasses to you. One of the lens was green, but the other was broken. Newfangled rubbish, that's why I remember him so well. He did have some kind of lens over his left eye, but I wouldn't have called it a pair of glasses. He seemed to have been wearing some rather modern-looking shades. It's called a scouter? And it's to check your power level, Judge. Perhaps I should take to wearing some and rival Mr. Godot's sharp appearance. We better come up with something sharp and quick. Guess I'll wait and see if I should challenge him about the spectacles. He had a newspaper in his right hand, and the nosy brat kept rustling its pages. The newspaper was a sports paper, was it? That young hooligan, I nearly asked him, can't you even read without fidgeting? How was I supposed to be able to read the back page with all that rustling going on? I needed to find out if Guts and Brawn retained his championship title. It was his paper, not yours. If you wanted to know so bad, why didn't you buy your own? What are you looking at me like that for? How dare you judge me? Guts and Brawn got beaten yesterday, by the way. Anyway. The young man was listening to the wireless, I remember that well. The wireless? The decadent young rascal. In my day, it was one or the other, read the paper or listen to the wireless. Oh boy. And using an earpiece, it's selfish, that's what it is. I was straining my ears, but I couldn't catch any of it. Was he that desperate to listen to the radio? What are you looking at me like that for? How dare you feel sorry for me? Then the serving girl in question brought over the Javachino. You mean the waitress, who you only saw from behind, right? You're one of those, are you? You never let anything go, isn't that right? Maybe. What does it matter if I saw her from the front or behind? My eyes don't lie. I better not push it until I've got some hard evidence. The little fidget picked up the cup with his free hand and took a sip. His free hand? Yes. Which hand was that? Weren't you listening before? Cloth ears? I said he was rustling the newspaper with his right hand, didn't I? If his free hand wasn't his right hand... Wait, what? Ha! Perhaps the great Mr. Wright has free hands. Eesh, I was only asking, no need to gang up on me and treat me like a freak. The whole point of this cross-examination is to establish just one thing. That this old guy's memory has more holes than a slice of Swiss cheese. I guess we just need to find a contradiction in his testimony somewhere, huh? Anything will do, even the smallest detail. We just need one mistake in his hours. So I think we need to like press him backwards. I think I'm gonna have to press him again on everything. So he was rustling the paper with his right hand, so he picked up the cup with his left hand. Oh. No, okay. This is his right hand. Because he's holding the cup and then drinking on this side. If he was holding the handle from the other side, the lip mark would be on the other side. I think I have him. I'm gonna save this. Newspaper in his right hand. Picked up the cup with his left hand and took a sip. So I'm gonna present the cup here. Mr. Kudo, do you remember what you were told at the start of this testimony? That this was a way of testing the credibility of your memory. I know! There's nothing wrong with my memory, I tell you. Nothing! If I got anything wrong, I'll eat these seeds and sing the pigeon song. Care to tell us where this is going, Trite? According to Mr. Kudo, the victim was holding the paper in his right hand. while drinking coffee with his free hand, which would make that his left. Gah, what is this? Kindergarten? But I would like the court to please take a look at this. That's the cup the victim used, correct? Yes, and on the rim you'll notice there's the mark left by the victim's lips. Yes, there is a stain left by the coffee. If you consider where that stain is, you'll clearly see that the victim was holding the cup in his right hand. But how? Well, Mr. Kudo, the court is waiting for your epic performance. You said you'd eat those seeds and sing the pigeon song. Ah. Mr. Kudo, I'm afraid this is simply not acceptable. I think the witness had better go back to the park where he came from. What? Wait. If you think I'm going to stand here and listen to you tell me I'm mad, you're wrong. I don't care about that dirty coffee cup, I know what I saw. You still insist on your testimony. That young brat was holding the cup in his left hand. Oh yes, no question, I'm a good law-abiding citizen, I am. It's that dead young hotbot and you spiky-haired yahoo, who are at fault. Who, me? Thank you, old man, we've heard quite enough from you already. No, I want to hear about the spiky head. Don't call me old man, old man. Been around for 68 years I have, you can't ignore me. Listen to what I've got to say. I'm sorry, Mr. Kudo, but sure, why not hear a little more? Thanks, Godot. Mr. Godot! But this is my 16th cup of coffee, so this is your final stand. Thank you, Captain. You can rely on Victor. Left hand or right hand? It means two different people drank from the cup. The boy was wearing the earpiece on the same side as the green lens of his specs, but his left eardrum was broken. He kept fiddling with it all the time. He was fiddling with it just before he picked up the cup too. And then he used the same hand to pick up the cup, his left hand. We know that the victim was wearing an unusual monocle over his left eye. It wasn't a monocle, Your Honor. It was a small computer monitor often used by programmers. A monitor? You mean like a television screen? The inside of the lens is a screen that displays computer data. like this. It's called an HMD. It's a common tool in the victim's line of work. Is it really? Wouldn't it be annoying? HD, TV, DVD, CD, all these newfangled letters drive me mad, but they don't matter. I know what I saw and I'm telling the truth. It's true, he doesn't seem to be lying. And those are the facts in good old black and white. The boy was wearing the earpiece on the same side as the green lens of his specs. So the victim was wearing an HMD. What does it matter? It was none of them actually, but anyway. And you're sure that he was wearing the earpiece on the same side? No question, I could only see that side of his head from where I was sitting. You could only see that side of his head from where you were sitting? You could only see that side of his head from where you were sitting? He couldn't see the other side of his head? Which means he was... Oh no. That means he was sitting here. If you couldn't see the other... Because if you're sitting here, you can kind of see the other side of his head. Maybe. But if he's sitting here, he could have seen this. Crap. Yeah, that's pretty obvious if you look at the floor plans. From the opposite table, he'd only have a view of the side of the victim's head. He kept fiddling with it all the time. It seemed you kept an eye on Mr. Glenelg. He was getting on my nerves. Maybe he was applying cream to his ear, rustling that newspaper and fiddling with his earpiece all the time. And then he went and made all that fuss dying from one sip of Javugino. I wanted to say to him, calm down you young brat. Just looking at him made me suddenly speed up my seed eating. I could have choked. So I take it the victim was a walking ball of nervous energy. He was fiddling with it just before he picked up the cup too. Did he put cream under the cup? The earpiece you mentioned, which hand did the victim touch it with? You're one of those people, aren't you? You're the type that uses your left hand to get things out of your right pocket. Maybe. Or fasten your left cuff with your right hand. Maybe. Wait, don't you, wait, you always have to... Wait, how do you fasten your left cuff with your left hand? And when the tour guide says on your right side you'll see the famous blah blah, you're the only one who deliberately looks left, well, aren't you? No, I didn't mean... Obviously he used the hand on the same side of his body that the earpiece was in. Ow. So if he had the HMD on his left side, then I guess it was his left hand. And then he used the same hand to pick up the cup, his left hand! You seem very sure of yourself, Mr. Kudo. That's because I know what I saw, no matter what tricks you try to play on me. It looks like he really did see the guy picking up the cup with his left hand. This is a dead end! Well, Nick, what do you think? I think the guy is telling the truth. But even so, something's not quite right. Then chuck evidence at him until he breaks. But if he's not lying, there wouldn't be any contradictions in his testimony, right? I'm gonna like show him the cream. Wearing this earpiece on the same side as the green lens, cause his... Okay, that doesn't say anything. None of the evidence says anything about his left eardrum being popped, but it was said earlier. Okay, left eardrum was ruptured. Do I present this? Wearing the earpiece on the same side as the green lens. Let me present this. I'm not sure what the relevance of this is, but... Mr. Kudo, there is something very strange about your observations of the victim. What? You say he was wearing the earpiece on the same side as the HMD. No question, you can lock me up if I'm wrong. It was his left ear, without a doubt. I could only see that side of his head from where I was sitting. There's not a mirror somewhere, is there? There can't be a mirror somewhere. I don't think so. What did you say? You're no doubt unaware of this fact, Mr. Kudo. But the victim couldn't hear with his left ear. His eardrum was ruptured. Traces of medication for his condition were found in his ear canal. That's right! It's impossible that the victim was wearing his earpiece in his left ear, because he couldn't even hear in that ear. Is that true, Captain? It is. Pigeon! Pretty pigeon. Order! This witness's testimony is completely unreliable! He only saw the waitress from behind, and he claims the victim was wearing an earpiece when we know his eardrum was ruptured. Well, Mr. Kudo, a single drop of milk is all it takes to destroy the pure black magic in the cup. What? This old man is my drop of milk. What? Captain, are you calling me a drip? This is the victim's coffee cup in which the potassium cyanide was found. The mark on the rim clearly shows that the victim picked it up with his right hand. I'll never back down. I know I'm right. The lad drank his Javachino with his left hand. Let me put you out of your misery. Clearly, the victim used both hands. He took a sip with the cup held in his right hand, and then he switched to the left. That's what the old man saw. Impossible! The witness has already testified on numerous occasions that the victim died immediately after taking just one sip of the coffee. Which hand the victim used to pick up his cup is irrelevant, Your Honor. The facts still stand. With one hand or the other, Mr. Elk drank the poisoned coffee. Like this! Sadly, Mr. Kudo, that doesn't wash. The point of this testimony was to establish whether the witness's memory is credible. And the results are clear. The testimony given by this witness is useless. I believe it is time to conclude today's proceedings. I am satisfied that the witness is not deceiving the court, but to be frank, his testimony is a farce. Did you have to be so frank? Take that, you pompous old fogey. I'm sorry, Mr. Kudo. You can't reach me from there. I'm ordering the defense and the prosecution to investigate this case further. That is all for now. This court is adjourned! Wait! If we stop now, where does that leave me? You're going back to the park. Leave you, Mr. Kudo. Thanks to that blue-suited young upstart over there. I'm just a bumbling old man who can't even dot his T's or cross his I's now. How is this your bad memory my fault? I'm sorry, Mr. Kudo, but there's nothing I can do. I've kept my mouth shut until now, but there's something else the court should know. Nani? There's more? To be perfectly honest, it might not be anything. But I want another chance. I want another crack at you, you young shark. Me? He's looking at me like I'm some sort of evil shogun. Well, everyone, what do you say to one final showdown? The final chapter in this eccentric old man's scrapbook. Sorry, Gramps. I've already had my 17th cup of coffee. What have you got to lose, Captain? I'll give you all the Javachino you want if you come to my house after the trial. I may be 68 years old, but Victor Kudo is still a man! That's enough, witness. I believe it will be quicker for the court to just hear your testimony. It won't. How would this be quicker? You bet! Much, much quicker. I can't believe this is happening. LeMayo! You better get ready, youngster. I get the picture. Just quit throwing those seeds at me, will you? He's got to be using some sort of infinite ammo code with that box of seeds. First of all, I want to stress that this might be nothing. I'm not too sure of myself. Yes, we know that. Kudo, we know that. The young boy slumped over the table as soon as he took one sip of his Javachino. While the clumsy idiot upset the vase, he knocked it right over. It broke and the strip of cloth covering the table got completely soaked. Well, how about that? Turn things upside down, is that all? is that all? Wait, no, wrong buttons. Really? The vase tipped over? Really? Really? Yes, that's all. I remember it perfectly. Hey, you're doubting me again. You're doubting a poor defenseless old man. No, we're not doubting you, Mr. Kudo. Don't you get the feeling there's a question hanging on everyone's lips, Nick? Yeah. So what? Probably. That's all I can think of, and I have to cross-examine this guy. You're a bird brain, that's why that's all you can think of. Very well, Mr. Wright, your final cross-examination, please. I mean, it means somebody tampered. If his memory is reliable, which we already established it's not. But we are establishing that somebody tampered with the crime scene. The court generally prefers if witnesses are sure of themselves, Mr. Kudo. Nosy brat! I'm warning you, I'm more savage than a macho man right now. What? You won't beat me with this testimony. This is the final battle. Ah, he's chucking those seeds harder than ever. I better be careful. Come on, Nick, nail him! The young boy slumped over the table as soon as he took one sip of his Javagino. The court has already heard that testimony, Mr. Kudo. I know that. I was just setting the mood. How else am I supposed to build up the suspense, The suspense? Yes, now what do you think? Should I work the audience a little bit more? No, please continue, Mr. Kudo, as quickly as possible. Alright, now where was I? Yes, the young boy slumped over the table, and... well, the clumsy idiot upset the vase. He knocked it right over. A vase, you say? Yes, there were vases on all the tables in that place. They're accidents waiting to happen. They're practically begging to be knocked over. Well, he's right about there being vases. I do remember seeing them too. There was a vase on the table when I ate lunch there. And you saw the moment when the victim actually knocked over the vase. Well, it's hard to say. It's a bit unclear. How do you really define? Okay, I get it. I heard it break, and the sight of it burned into my memory as clear as day. It broke, and the strip of cloth covering the table got completely soaked. Soaked in water, you mean? Yes, it splashed me on the knee as well. You said you were sitting at a table across the room from the victim, correct? And yet the water still managed to splash onto you. It was cold! I clearly remember it splashing me. Could the water really make it all the way across to the other side of the room? Well, how about that? Turn things upside down, You mean the vase on the victim's table falling upside down and breaking? The vase turned upside down, and my testimony's turning this case upside down. It's a joke! I just wanted everyone to hear it. What do you think, Captain? I'm impressed by your ability to waste time. Kudo hasn't raised any objections for a while now. So you young show-off with that scrap of information, I'm throwing down the gauntlet. If I lose this one, I'll take it like a man and admit defeat. He's already giving you the evil eye, Maya. It's you he's looking at, Nick, not me. It's like he's saying I triple dog dare you to find a contradiction, younger. I guess I just have to rise to the challenge then. Rise to the challenge then. Yeah, it's pretty easy. It's pretty damn easy. I just not sure which statement. Mr. Kudo, this is a photograph of the crime scene. So what? Look carefully at the table. The vase is there. Intact! Huh. Lost your tongue, Granddad? I'm no granddad of yours. Enough! If you throw any more seeds in this courtroom, the cleaners will be here all night. Ah! What is it now? I just remembered something. Yes, go on. The broken vase. LeMayo, it was on my table. What? What? Ah, well, you see, it startled me when that young lad collapsed. So I stood up. That must have been it when it fell over. The vase on my table, I mean. The vase on your table? LeMayo, yes, it was on my table. And that's how my groin came to be completely soaked. Ew. Sigh. Thank you, Mr. Kudo. You've certainly earned your kudos for today. It was his vase that broke. But we don't see which one is missing. I'd like to ask a question now. Have I been any use at all? No. No, you haven't. Perhaps that's something you should reflect on yourself, Mr. Kudo. Ah! Wait a minute. If that's the case, there's more. I've got more to say. Oh yes, I remember something else. Bailiff! Escort the witness out of the courtroom. Wait, listen to me! Oh god, okay. Well, we seem to have been completely sidetracked. Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Judge. And I'm still not in a position to deliver a verdict. The defendant has not been positively identified as the waitress in question. Additionally, there are two disparities in the testimony we have heard thus far. The mark on the coffee cup and that the victim supposedly drank from with his left hand, and the earpiece which was inserted into his left ear out of which he couldn't hear. Wow, Nick, you did it! I therefore require both the defense and the prosecution to further investigate the facts. Yes, Your Honor. There is one more thing before I can call today's session to an end. One more thing, Your Honor. The witness we just heard from. He is most insistent that his testimony should be of use. So he summarized it accordingly into this statement. Okay. You may each have a copy of it if you wish. Whatever. The prosecution doesn't need props like that. Godot's really mad, huh? God, he's out of coffee? And his witness completely screwed up. Yeah, I would be too. Very well. Here you are then, Mr. Wright. There are 3 copies, my own, yours, and Mr. Godot's. Yes, Your Honor. Victor's testimony added to court record. When the incident occurred, I broke the vase at my seat. I am sorry. I'm sorry. It's kind of a haiku, but not quite. Occurred, I broke my vase at my seat. I'm sorry. I'm sorry? This isn't a piece of testimony, more like a 5-year-old's apology. Okay, before I analyze the merits of the haiku. Okay, that's gonna be important. What the heck are we supposed to do with 3 copies? That's all. This court is adjourned! We're gonna have to find out where the witness was sitting to prove that there was another guy hiding behind the screen. Probably. And the haiku will show where he's sitting when we find the broken vase. Alright, see you next time.